Okay, so War Thunder's changed the VRs for January 2021. Jesus. Okay. And I honestly don't really like most of them. Some of them are okay, and that's what we're going to start off with. But they are absolutely screwing in and destroying an entire BR. So let's start off with the positive, because there are some good changes here. So the F2G is being moved from 6.7 to 6.3. This is a positive change. The F2G has apparently been suffering, like it's not performing up to the way it should. So I do think this is a good change. It's going to help the aircraft a bit, but it's not going to make it overpowered. And the Ju-288C in the German tree is going from 5.7 to 6.0, and this is also a positive change. The aircraft right now is extremely deadly. It can end games very quickly. It's fast, so it's very hard to catch, and it's very hard to shoot down because it's kind of a tank, and it has plenty of defensive armament. So that makes it a bit of a menace. At 6.0, there will be more things that can combat it, more things that can catch it, more things that it can take it down more easily. So it won't be as much of a game-ending aircraft. So let's move on to the more neutral-ish changes. So the B-57s and Canberras are being moved from 8.3 to 8.7. I don't really, or no, 8.0 to 8.3, sorry. I don't think this is a awful change, but I don't think it's a very good change. Spitfire has shown that the B-57s and Canberras can be used very, very well. What I'm not understanding is why the versions without guns are being moved to 8.3. That part I'm not understanding. The ones with guns I can understand being at 8.3, but the just strictly bombers, that doesn't make sense. Besides, the B-57 isn't that good. I mean, it can turn, it can bomb, and it's not that fast. At least not as far as I'm concerned. I've killed plenty of them with ease. So moving on to more that I think are good. All the F-84Fs, which were added recently, have been moved from 8.7 to 8.3. This is probably the best change for jets with these BR changes. The F-84F is not competitive. It doesn't turn. It doesn't have an amazing roll rate. It has pretty, standard armament. Nothing good, nothing bad. But it does not accelerate. It's slow. And it bleeds its energy. So at 8.7, it kind of is trash. Moving to 8.3, it'll do a little better. I do think this aircraft belongs at 8.0, though. But I don't think we're going to get that. I think 8.3 is going to serve it just fine. And I think it's going to, it's going to get through it. It's going to be a better aircraft. So now let's move on to the F3H2 Demon. And this one I am quite upset about, actually. I've been playing the Demon an awful lot recently, and I love it. It is a criminally underrated aircraft, and it deserves a lot more attention. It is surprisingly maneuverable. It has a decent top speed. It has very good armament, and it can carry 4 AIM-9Bs. The missiles are important because they're moving this thing to 9.7 and not giving it the AIM-7s it carried in real life. Now, if it weren't for another BR change that I'm about to get into, I don't think this would be a problem. However, the MiG-19S, MiG-19PT, and J6A are all being moved to 9.7. What? the heck? What is Gaijin on? Okay, so they'll move because at top tier, the meta is very missile focused. I mean, everything has good missiles. And I'm excluding F-104s when I say that. The F-4E, the MiG-21s, the Mirage, J-35, F-1, they all have really good missiles. The MiG-19s in general either don't have missiles or don't have very good ones. They rely on their maneuverability and guns, which is not the meta of top tier and more the meta of 9.7. Now, on paper, that sounds like a good idea. But now, you've not only given the MiG-19s they're much faster than everything at 9.7. Well, excluding some things, like the F-100 and Lightning. But it still doesn't justify it. And what makes this worse is the MiG-21 PFM and J-72 are now also 9.7. And so is the Q-5A. This is, by far, I think, the dumbest BR decision Gaijin has made in a long time. What they've essentially done is turn 9.7 into a supersonic, or like a first stage supersonics meta. What they could have done is just increase the BRs, decompressed it a bit, but nope. I guess Q times or something makes that impossible. The Buccaneer is getting moved to 9.7. Why is the Buccaneer getting moved to 9.7? It doesn't even have guns, and it's being moved to 9.7. So that one's really dumb. I have heard some speculation that the Jaguar might be moved, the GR1, not the A, will be moved to 9.7. And I disagree with this. Even as a Britain main, I'm a US Britain main, whatever. I don't agree with this. It's just not a good idea. The Jaguar is too fast, and it pulls such a high AOA that I think it's still going to be able to compete with some of the 9.7s and whatnot. So you can't do anything against them. And what makes this worse is Gaijin will not put Britain back with the Allies. It's still US and Japan versus everyone else. And so what you've essentially done is Japan has some sabers at 9.3, 9.7. And the US has the F-100 and some sabers and the F-3H and some attackers. Fighting MiG-21s, MiG-19s, Su-7s, Jaguar Lightnings. Why? What I think should be done is US, Japan, Britain, and either France or Sweden should be fighting on the same side against Germany, Russia, China, and I guess Italy and Sweden, or France or Sweden. I don't care about those two. It doesn't make any sense. Nothing about this is logical. Nothing about this is improving the game. It's not fixing anything except for looking at statistics and seeing that an aircraft is doing poorly, moving it down in BR, and believing that that's going to fix it. What they're about to do is purge the statistics for everything else at 9.7, and Gaijin hasn't thought of that. And because of that ignorance, 9.7 is about to become a ruined BR. And this is why statistics aren't a viable way of, changing or figuring out what needs to be changed. And I don't know what's preventing Gaijin from wrapping their heads around that. But I guess we'll see what happens. Now, in no way is this me being really factual or anything. If you want more info on this, Spitflyer has made some really good videos on a lot of this, including ground, which I did not cover and I'm not going to cover. This is just kind of my rant. I'm confused. I'm disappointed. I'm mad. Or not mad, but just annoyed. It's none of these make sense. None of them are logical. They're all just because statistics say that something's not going Gaijin's way. And I'm not going to say, oh, they're only doing it to Russian aircraft because Russian bias. No, they're not. They're doing it because of statistics. They did the same thing with the Lightning, and it looks like they're about to do the same thing with the Jaguar. It's just sad watching this game become worse and worse because Gaijin is lazy. They're money hungry. I get it's a business, but it's still disappointing. Anyways, that was just my rant. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say about this.